Those Arkansas farmers crying up and down the timeline are killing me because they just discovered that racism and hate is very expensive.
Hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations.
Sounds to me like a bunch of welfare queens boo-hooing for a handout. Wah, give me money, give me money. What do you think, money grows on trees? You need to find those bootstraps and tug real hard. Frankly, I think it's in God's will. It was put on my heart that the Lord needed to take away your farm because you are a dumb fuck. You literally got everything you voted for. You're a hypocrite, you're an idiot, and I'm glad you're losing your farm. You need to learn a lesson. This is natural selection at work. Soon enough, a huge corporation is going to buy your farmland, and maybe you can come back and pick those crops, you know? Out in the sun all day long, hands bleeding. I see that in your future and it makes me very happy. And I'm not the only one.
The farmers in Arkansas have finally hit a rock bottom. They are now begging for emergency funding from the same government that they helped vote into power. The same government that has been slashing agricultural support, ignoring climate policy, and gutting the very lifelines that they once took for granted. You all know the saying, they mess around and they are going to find out. And people are here for it. People are talking about it. People are telling them that the cost of racism is very expensive. They are filing for bankruptcy now. Most of them are about to lose their farms that has been passed down to them from generations. You guys, there's a lot of conversation going on around it. Some of them are even organizing a prayer session. They are literally praying. There's a clip of it that you guys are going to be able to see in the stage. So I want you to stick around. Let's hear what people are saying because Black people are reacting to them now finding out. I'm praying because they have finally met the consequence of their action. Let's get into it.
Racism, misogyny, and sexism comes with a mighty cost. And it is a cost that farmers all across the state of Arkansas are currently having to pay. Folks, I want to dispel this notion that farmers in Arkansas had no idea the negative impacts that Donald Trump's tariffs could have on them. I think if I had to choose any job group in the United States that would understand tariffs, it would be farmers. They knew full well the impact that this could have on them, but they believed that in return for their vote, there would be carve-outs, there would be bailouts for them by the Trump administration from the negative effects of tariffs. And they've yet to receive that from the Trump administration. So this idea that they didn't see this coming or that farmers are just stupid is a fallacy. They knew full well what they were voting for, but they expected to be exempt. And I think that's the case for a lot of people right now that are being negatively impacted by Donald Trump's policies. And they voted for him because they thought that they would be exempt. Sexism, misogyny, and racism comes with a cost. And it's a cost you better be willing to bear, especially if that's going to be the sole reason you vote for an individual.
Farmers in Arkansas are not realizing that racism is expensive. They thought that pulling up whiteness was a way of life. They don't even realize that they do not benefit from it and they do not do it as part of a practice. White people and white culture has never been inclusive. It is by nature exclusive. They do not share a common interest. They share a common enemy. The whole point is to hold the line and keep brown and black, and I guess I have to be specific and say yellow, out of their communities, away from their businesses, away from their everything that they hold dear. You do not need a college degree to walk out on your own farm and see that everybody who works the jobs that nobody wants are brown and black. You knew that. And you knew that voting for this person would remove those people. In fact, I don't think these people are even asking for money from the government. I think they're asking for workers. I think all of this would clear up if they rounded people up and dropped them off at their farms. I think that's really what they want. The thing about it that pisses me off even more is that I have no answer as to how to change a racist from a racist into something else. They will not learn their lesson. In fact, they'll keep getting slapped by situations like this over and over and over and never realize it's because their culture has no actual value of keeping them together and keeping things afloat. It's just about keeping people better than you below and keeping the people above you high so that you can stay where you're at. Let's not forget, Trump was president before this, and he had done similar things. And there were similar results then. There were farmers complaining about losing their businesses. This has always been an issue. Every time a Republican becomes president, this happens. Even when they become governor, this happens. They ran a dry run with DeSantis when they cracked down on immigration there, and then all of the Hispanic workers left the construction sites, and it was so hard to build a house. People couldn't renovate their houses. That happened. They knew all of this. And they did it anyway. What hurts the most is because they're a part of our society, because they're a part of our communities. If we allow them to fall, we will have a food desert crisis. We will have not enough food for 300 million Americans. And it pisses me off because they don't learn their lesson, and they never will. As much as you and I would like to leave them behind, they will never figure out their wrongdoings. They could go their whole lives and then meet one brown or black person and then go, you know what, maybe they're not that bad. That's the closest that we'll get to them realizing anything. And that they're not that bad means I can leave this person around my grill, but never around my daughter.
And when it comes to the farmers in Arkansas, you gotta hold that, bro. You voted for that. And it's not like we cheering it on, but we cheering it on. We know Monsanto and BlackRock and all them, they're gonna come in and kill the world. We know this. But we gotta revel in your demise first, bro. You voted for this. And really, this could be karma for the past too, but we ain't gonna get into all that. But hey, wait, I just wanna know. I wanna know. What happened to all the Make America Great Again hats? What happened to them? I know when you had to throw that hat out, they was probably mad as, yo, bro. Imagine that feeling. Imagine, like, I got things tatted on me that if I had to remove them, I thank God I don't have to remove them, but if I had to remove, I would feel terrible. And somebody gonna be like, the hat ain't same as a tattoo. Shit, the way they was rocking them, the way they was rocking them, might as well been a tattoo. And really, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them did get tattoos. Make America Great. I know one of them got a Donald Trump tattoo right now. Stop playing.
So all over my timeline, I am seeing people call the farmers in Arkansas stupid. They're not stupid. They can run a farm, they can do crops, they can pay people. They're not stupid, y'all. See, in 2016, roughly 70% of farmers voted for Donald Trump. And by 2019, most of them had to file for bankruptcy because of Trump. We see a pattern emerging, right? In 2024, roughly about 80% of them voted for Donald Trump again. And now they are sitting there in Arkansas praying to Donald Trump and God to save them from bankruptcy once again. Most farmers are on the verge of losing their farms, their homes, and the ability to feed their families. And they're asking for a government bailout, which you know they're not going to get. And you can thank Donald Trump and his tariffs for the reason. They can't afford to buy crops, they can't afford to buy equipment. And they have no immigrants to run their farms for them. Look at that. And it's crazy why they were praising Trump. Biden had implemented many programs to save farmers. Partnerships for climate smart commodities, which invested over $3 billion across 140 some odd projects for farmers to improve their farmlands, their soil, and etc. The Inflation Reduction Act injected $19.5 billion into the USAID conservation program. And baby, there were many more. And Trump made sure he rolled back every last one of them. So for the farmers that actually voted for Trump, I don't think you're stupid. I just think you were racist. And you voted for a man that put white people above everybody. But it was only certain white people that were going to reap the benefits in this country. You had to be part of the 1%. You couldn't be blue collar. So you guys did not matter. You gave your vote to a man that you thought was going to put you above everybody else, and look at you. You're struggling like everyone else. When you vote for racism, it will always cost you. Because right behind racism, there's classism. And you don't fit the class. So I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm going to call you racist. And now you are reaping the benefits of being a racist in this country because you don't have the classism to be at the top to reap the benefits of anything that Donald Trump is providing. Good luck to you and yours.
Guess who just got the tea about what's going over on MAGA sides, specifically with the farmers in Arkansas? Child, them Trump tariffs is kicking their asses so bad that at the most recent NEA meeting, representative assembly that took place on Friday, the farmers in Arkansas all collectively broke down in prayer. They started calling on to God. They started calling on to God because they cannot trust that Donald Trump is actually going to keep his word. See, the big beautiful bill, which a lot of these Arkansas farmers voted for, and the Trump administration is currently renaming because it did not accurately describe what was in the bill, promised a lot of the people in the agriculture industry benefits that a lot of these businesses will not live to see as they all take effect in 2026, 2027. Late 2026 and early 2027 to be exact. But like I stated, a lot of those businesses will not be around long enough to see it come into fruition. Apparently, around that time, a quarter of the farming industry in Arkansas will be out of business. You already know that I always come with the evidence. I always have the clip, so stay tuned for the clip provided by ABC7.
The government steps in to save them. Farmers had no one to turn to but God.
Farmers are not it's only a day. They're closer today than anyone else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. You know, we're hurting anymore. We can't deal with what's happened to us.
Dear Lord, we are hurting here, Lord. We can't help what has happened to us. You actually could have helped it because you could have voted against it. Y'all could have voted for Kamala, but like you stated, she has a weird laugh. And here's a screenshot of the article. You can go and find it. Let's read along to the title. People have little sympathy for the Arkansas farmers who are asking Trump for emergency funding to save their farms. And because they can't trust on Trump to actually come through with these emergency funds, they started praying. I probably should have highlighted what I'm about to read, but it's in quotations at the top. It says, I have never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on. Welcome to the mentality of the average Black American here. Welcome to the mentality of the average Hispanic Latino person here. Welcome to the mentality of the average marginalized group member here in America. And to think that all of this could have been avoided, had you just listened to those same marginalized groups, if you would have just listened to the Black Americans here in this country, to the 92%, if you would have just listened. And now, ironically, the same tool that you used to oppress the marginalized groups in this country, the Black Americans in this country, the formerly enslaved people of America, religion, Christianity, prayer, is now the only tool that you can rely on because you can't trust in your government to look out for you. You can't trust in your government to help you. How fucking ironic. And just a reminder, because I know y'all like to forget, right? Anytime, historically speaking, by the way, the Black Americans of this country stated that they needed help, they wanted to be treated fairly, they wanted equality, you told them to pray harder. You sent them to church. You told them to pray harder. That if it's really meant for them, all they had to do was pray harder and God was going to hear them. So that's my advice to you, you farmers in Arkansas. Pray harder, okay? Just keep praying. However, I do have a strong inkling that we are not praying to the same gods. I know the God that I pray to. There's only one. I don't know what you're praying to, but pray harder, okay? God bless.
Now, a lot of these farmers, and not all, but a significant portion of these farmers, back policies and politicians that promise small government, cut the red tape, and drain the swamp. Because it sounded good in campaign speeches, but what it actually meant was sweeping away the support for them, sweeping away the subsidies, the insurance safety net, the USDA grant, and the climate programs that help protect farmers during bad seasons. And now the seasons are bad. Drought, flood, rising fuel and supply costs, full impact of climate change, and the regulation is eating them like a freight train. Arkansas is a state where majority of the rural places voted for leaders who cut fundings to the very agencies that are meant to help in times like this. And now they are the same voters that are demanding for emergency funding. They are the same one who will say that nothing is supposed to be handed. People should get up and go work. We want to hand it over to them because that is the same thing that they have been saying to people. Now it has been reversed. Now the role has been reversed. They are now the one begging because when others did that, they said they were lazy. They said they need to get out, get into something and do something. Things shouldn't be handed over to them. They are demanding for emergency relief. They are even praying. From who? Because the farmer bailout money is not there like it used to be. Federal assistance, it has been slashed or even delayed. And those local safety nets are all gone. They have now been replaced with market freedom, which, sounded nice until you are watching your entire year crop die in the field. And here's the kicker. These people are not just losing money. Many of them are losing farms that have been passed down to them from generations. They are losing land, legacies, they are losing their livelihood, all because they supported the politician who told them that the government was the enemy without realizing that sometimes government is the only thing standing between you and a complete ruin. I do not even think these people are laughing at their pain. They didn't see other people pain before. They thought people wanted things handed over to them. I think this whole thing is about choices and consequences, and this is the conversation that people are having. You guys lay your bed. You are supposed to hop in it. And it is more on what happens when political loyalty overrides common sense and self-preservation. Because now, the very people who voted for this court are standing in the line for help that may no longer exist. And while they pleaded for emergency funds, families across the country are watching and asking, was it even worth it for you guys? Was it worth it for you guys to have put your self-preservation at risk? Because when you vote against the system that keeps you alive, you don't just make a political statement. You gamble your entire future. This is what the people are saying. This is what I have been able to get from what the people are saying. I'm sure you guys have seen the stitches as well. This is the conversation that people are having. Now they are in their finding out faces because they've messed around so freaking much. Now they are meeting the consequences of their actions. Let me hear what you guys think about this headline. And I think the gag that I had about this whole thing when I saw this headline was them literally coming together in groups to pray. They are praying. And you guys know there's nothing prayer cannot do. So let me hear what you think in the comment section. I am going to see you guys in the next one.